WIZZFX.
Hey, it's Chris from WIZZFX and welcome to episode 3 of Before the DAW. And you should know what this is about by now, but if you don't, this is a video series all about the things that I think you should be thinking about before you even open Pro Tools or Audition or Ableton or whatever it is that you use to edit your radio imaging and create your radio imaging. In this episode, we're going to talk about the listener journey. In the last video, we personified our listener Tyler. Remember this? Who is this? This is a mid-20s male. What's his name? Well, I've called him Tyler, and I just Googled popular names in the early 2000s, and that was one of the names that came up, so Tyler. So where is Tyler? Well, he's probably living at home with his parents, or in a small apartment by himself, or he could have housemates. What does he do? He could study, he could be a creative like a musician or an artist or something. He could have a menial job or any sort of combination of any of those things, like might be a musician, he might be studying, he might work at Subway. So what does Tyler like? Well, Tyler likes Friends, games, movies, music, Netflix, Amazon Prime, history movies and series on those. He's not tied to a specific genre of music. He likes fast food, he'll use Uber, he likes to socialize and go to concerts and go to bars and stuff. He likes TikTok, he likes Instagram, not a big fan of Facebook, not a big fan of Twitter. What's a typical day look like for Tyler? Well, he's probably not going to get up before sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, midday-ish maybe, unless he's got work or study and has to be up early for that. He's got a pretty relaxed attitude to meal times. He eats when he's hungry. He stays up late, but relaxation time is really fundamental to Tyler, so he's going to structure his day around having lots of downtime to do the things he likes to do, i.e. games or watching movies or hanging out with friends. But when's he likely to listen to K-Alt? Probably when he's studying or chilling at home with his friends or playing games, maybe when he's commuting to his work or to study, even perhaps at work. Cool. So in today's episode, we're going to really dive into what Tyler's typical day is so that we can define the listener journey. And by that I mean by understanding and mapping out your listener's day, or Tyler's day in this case, we can start to make programming decisions. So, this is wider than just radio imaging. This is everything. Music, presenters, show times, ad times, if you're a commercial station, whatever it is. But if we understand his journey through his day, we can start to look at how we might communicate at certain times in order to best reach him and connect with him. So I can get as granular about Tyler's day as I want to. But some questions I might like to ask are, when does he get up? What's his morning routine? When or if does he leave the house to work or study? How does he travel there? How long is he at work or study? And what does he do when he's there? What does he do at lunchtime? What does he do in the afternoon? Is it just more work and study? What does he do when he leaves work or study if he's there? How does he travel home? What's his evening routine? And what time does he go to bed? By knowing the answers to these questions, I'm going to be able to more effectively communicate with Tyler because I know where he is, I know what he's doing, and I can have my language reflect his attitude at any specific point in the day, and that can be really powerful. So an applied example of this was when I was at a CHR station in New Zealand, and we were creating a new Saturday night party show, and we actually ended up time restricting IDs between sort of 4 and 6 and 6 and 8 and 8 and 10 and 10 and 12 and 12 and 2 a.m. That sort of mapped out the journey that people have when they get ready for a party. They have the party. The party obviously goes on for a while, and then they decide to go to town. And so and then they get the trip back, right? So in the cab or in the Uber. So we actually had IDs to kind of reflect those moments all the way through. So, some examples like, between 4 and 6, it was like as the girls get ready, put their makeup on and their dresses on. And as as the fellas get the snacks ready, as you organise the taxi to the party. And then while you're at the party, it was stuff like as you get stuck talking to that person you didn't want to be talking to, as you dance to your favourite track, then, fast forwarding to the sort of midnight to 2 a.m. thing. It's like as you're in the cab on the way home, doing some stuff around that. And it just sort of follows that listener journey, and it makes it a little bit more interesting. And people that aren't doing those things can have a little giggle because everyone relates to it. But people who are doing those things, it's even better, right? It connects with them and it's cool. And it just reaches into their minds and just shows that your station cares a bit more about the things that they care about. And I think that's really powerful. And actually that show rated particularly well just by virtue of, the right music, having some of these lovely lines to kind of help relate the imaging to our audience. And that's the name of the game, right? By connecting and having ratings, you win. So now let's take Tyler and let's think about the questions that we asked ourselves before and see if we can answer them. Now, as I said before, we're going to make assumptions. But this will give you an idea of how you might be able to do the same for your own listeners with some research in order to apply this to your own radio imaging. So let's work through the questions and answer them. So when does Tyler wake up? He wakes up roughly at 10 a.m. What's his morning routine? Well, he's probably going to shower, have some coffee and some breakfast. And what does he do when he leaves the house for work or study? Well, it varies. He doesn't always work, he doesn't always study, but he usually leaves about 11 a.m. if he is going to leave the house. How does he travel? About 30 minutes in the car. How long is he at work, study, and what does he do when he's there? It varies, but 4 to 5 hours. What does he do at lunchtime? He normally buys a snack around 2 or 3. What does he do in the afternoon? Is it more work or study? Yes, it's a little. It varies depending on his course or the shift that he's taken at work. What does he do when he leaves work or study? Well, he normally goes home but picks up dinner on the way. And how does he travel home? Well, he travels 30 minutes in the car just like he did to get to his place of work study. And what's his evening routine? Well, he likes to eat dinner, he likes to relax and watch Netflix or play games, and he likes to go to bed around midnight. So now we've expanded on Tyler's journey through his day, his listener journey, obviously making assumptions for the purposes of this video. We can now try to make some decisions around programming or the radio imaging and how we might communicate to Tyler to best connect with him. So, for example, if he's getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning, he's kind of missing a standard breakfast show. So maybe that needs to shift a bit. And maybe some of the imaging around that show needs to reflect that he's not getting up till 10 a.m. Alternatively, at the other end of the day, when he's home, he's going to be watching Netflix, watching a movie or a series or something, and then maybe playing some games. So maybe having some sort of gamer show and having imaging that's related to some of the popular games at the minute might be worth considering, just so that if he is listening to the radio station, that connects with him. He's hearing stuff about his favorite Netflix show, the trending Netflix show, the trending Netflix movie, and the trending games. That might be something worthwhile. So just a few rough examples there. I mean, we'd all love people to listen 24/7, right? But they're not going to. So maybe just embracing the fact that we know Tyler is going to disappear to watch movies and TV and play games, and reflecting that in the imaging might be something that we could do on K-Alt. Now, at the end of episode 3, we know 3 things. We know that we can run all of the radio imaging we have on our radio station through a kind of filter or a checklist to check that it's working. We know how to personify our listener and create a character. And we know how to figure out and define that character or listener's journey throughout the day so that we can best communicate with them in the most effective way at the best times. So we're kind of at the end of the boring research part now, and we'll start thinking about what we'd like to make in the next episode. So as always, thanks for watching this. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts about what you've seen, please feel free to comment below or reach out on any of the socials. You can also head to WIZZFX.com and use the contact form there, and you can check out all of the work that we've been doing, or you can email info@WIZZFX.com. Cheers.
Custom imaging, sound design, music, WIZZFX.